up? How you guys doing out there today? This is your boy Roto Beast. I'm here with my boy Jeremy. We're here to present you our MLB On Deck segment for Tuesday, May 14th. If you're new to the channel, please make sure and click the subscribe button below. This way you can watch all of our MLB, NBA, and NFL videos. And if you haven't came and checked out our website here at dfscheatsheet.com, you're absolutely missing out. We have all the tools to help you compete with the pros day in and day out, including a complete optimizer, tons of content, daily FanDuel, and DraftKings cash lineups. Hey, we're truly a one-stop shop for all your DFS needs. So make sure to come check out the site here at dfscheatsheet.com. So, hey, what up, Jeremy? How you doing, bro?
Yo, what up, man? How you doing?
Hey, another day. Hey, another very good night last night with our cash lines. GPPs did pretty good. Hey, we're absolutely rolling for baseball right now, bro. Hey, and I'm really liking this stack stuff that you got me doing nowadays. Real quick before we do jump into anything, I mean, you want to kind of quickly show everybody what you just got really excited about?
I'm super excited about. I've been telling everybody that this tool was getting ready to launch. This is pretty much the basis of my research process every single day. This is what put us on Milwaukee last night. This is what put us on many contrarian teams that I'll argue with you about sometimes. Going like, I don't think that team's going to be very good. But this is the research process. It's not complete yet. It's on its way to being complete. We're still converting some of the statistical values in, but this is a preview of what it's going to look like. So I don't know if I've shared my screen. Did I share my screen yet? They may not be seeing what I'm seeing. So let me just. They're probably looking at my ugly mug right now.
Oh yeah, no, I got your screen share now.
Okay. Let me go back there. So this is it, man. This is really the basis of my research every single day. And we break down pitching. That's what the deep dive is all about. So this thing is going to evolve a little bit. It's not complete yet as far as with every single data point. We're waiting on a couple of things to be broken down, some sabermetrics that I look at, but I'm very excited that this tool is on its way to being launched.
Yeah, for sure, man. It makes it basic, clear as day for you, man. That's what I like about it, especially for you understand a little bit more in depth analysis. Me, I'm still getting to learn it. So this is very helpful tool for sure.
Yeah. So I mean, just as an example of something we were looking at yesterday that put us on having Milwaukee, and this is what you get on the deep dive every day. Okay, so on the deep dive, I talked from a strategy standpoint, being underweight and being overweight is about, and where we needed to be on yesterday's small slate with Aaron Nola, and why we needed to be there with Aaron Nola, and where we were going to go in return. And what I mean by that is Aaron Nola was giving up like a 249. I don't have the number, and it's gone from my mind. My mind works crazy like that, where when I don't need the information anymore, it's gone. But I want to say it was like a 249 or 259 or 269 ISO to left-handed bats. And I had a really good feeling that people would be on Aaron Nola yesterday, and they were at like 18 or 19% owned in tournaments. And I just thought, look, Robbie Ray is going to be the cash game pitcher, and tournaments people are going to be all over Aaron Nola. And he's giving up this huge ISO to left-handed bats. He had a huge difference in his splits between left-handed bats and right-handed bats, as well as K percentage. Hugely decreased K percentage versus left-handed bats. And I just thought Milwaukee has the opportunity to send out Grandal, Thames, Ben Gamel, Yelich, Shaw, and Moustakas, which would be 6 left-handed bats in that lineup. So, he would only get 3 right-handed bats, and I just thought this is going to be an opportunity for Milwaukee to get all over him. It didn't quite work out completely like we needed it to take a tournament down with it, but they were a great secondary team to stack with. You had multiple guys put up. Lorenzo Cain had 5 points. I mean, five hits. So that Milwaukee stat came through, but you don't get that kind of stuff if you're not paying attention to the right details. And we said you needed to be probably even with the field instead of being underweight or overweight on Nola, because if Nola would go nuts, at least you would have a certain percentage. If you played 150 lineups, you had 20% of them then you have 30 lineups that had Aaron Nola in them, and you would hedge that with your 30 Milwaukee lineups. So it worked out exactly how it should have worked out last night. Robbie Ray ended up being every pitcher got hit yesterday except for Reynaldo Lopez, and you would have only gotten Reynaldo Lopez from me if you would have listened to the deep dive yesterday as one of the pitching options that I said you should have used.
Yeah, for sure. So, hey, let's move into today. I'm ready to jump into it and kind of just get a general idea of where we're at. As always, this video is more of just an overview of some things that are popping out to us. If you want a more in-depth analysis on today's slate, Jeremy mentioned it. You can go check out his deep dive piece. I do my daily core play video for 5 guys I feel should be in all your cash game lineups. We have a value street article. We have a crush spot where 5 guys, price doesn't matter, that we feel is absolutely going to go crazy on today's slate. Hey, we got a lot of good things going on with the site right now, so make sure to check it out, dfscheatsheet.com. And yeah, man, I'm ready to jump in and just kind of just talk about a couple of teams that I'm looking at today.
Yeah, let's go.
Cool. So I'm going to start with the team. I think they're going to be chalky. They should be chalky. We talked about it yesterday. I'm going to go right back to the well. You got Houston. They get a matchup today with Ryan Carpenter, a lefty. We always like Houston against lefties. This guy gives up a 403 WOBA to left-handers, 426 WOBA to right-handers. And on the flip side, Houston has some really good hitting numbers right now. As a team, they have a 373 WOBA, 225 ISO as a team. So they're really, really hitting the ball hard. As we mentioned yesterday with Houston, that their ISO was under 200. In the past few weeks, they've been on fire, and they brought it to way over 200. So we really, really like Houston today. And the best part about Houston, not even that they're not necessarily going against a good pitcher, but they're also going to get so many innings against a bullpen that has been taxed, that has been overused. I really, really like this spot for Houston. I think that they are definitely going to be the top team to target on today's slate. You look at the obvious lefty mashers, George Springer, Bregman, Correa. I mentioned Diaz yesterday. I told you guys I really liked Diaz yesterday. Ended up hitting a home run. You can also throw in Gurriel, White. If Reddick is in the lineup, we got to see if Reddick or Marisnik is in there. But if Reddick is in the lineup, even though he is a lefty, he actually hits lefties very well as well. So I really, really like Houston today. I think they're going to put up a bunch of runs. Moving on, next team I'm going to mention, we're going to talk about the Kansas City Royals at home. They get a matchup with Shelby Miller, he isn't very good, man. The guy's been a big gas can the past couple years. He gives up a 417 WOBA to lefties, 440 WOBA to righties. And Houston, Royals are a team that they've quietly been swinging some good bats. Obviously they don't have no big name guys that are really, really standing out to you that you're like, oh man, I want to play the Royals. But hey, they're swinging some good bats. They have some really good hitters in this lineup. As a team, 327 WOBA, 198 ISO, just under 200. So they are hitting for some power. Some obvious guys that you can look at for them. They're top 3 guys, in my opinion. You look at Merrifield, you look at Mondesi, Alex Gordon. He's having a really, really good start to the season. We know that this past couple of years, the guy he's been in an All-Star game. He's a really good hitter. He got kind of injury riddled a little bit, and it kind of threw him off. A couple. The past 2 years, I want to say, have been a little bit tough for him. But the year before that, he was an All-Star. So I like Alex Gordon. I like these Royals. I think that they're in a good spot going against Shelby Miller. Moving on, next team I'm going to be looking at, I like Boston going against Kyle Freeland at home. Kyle Freeland is a guy, he has massive splits on the road compared to at home. He's much, much better at home. And what's crazy about that is he's a Coors pitcher. He pitches in Coors Field, which is the worst hitting environment over the past 5, basically for a long time. Coors Field has been, the worst environment for pitchers, very good environment for hitters. But Freeland, he pitches well at home. He feels comfortable at home. In Boston, they got a bunch of righties that definitely can hit lefties. Freeland's numbers aren't too bad. I'm going to be honest. Freeland isn't a gas can pitcher. He's a pretty good pitcher. He is 257 WOBA to lefties, 311 WOBA to righties. Boston on the flip side, 315 team WOBA, 184 ISO. One thing about Boston is they haven't been hitting for as much power this year compared to last year. But last year they were just going crazy earlier in the year. But yeah, for Boston, I like some of these lefty mashers. Whenever you're talking about lefty mashers in Boston, you start with Betts. You start with Pierce. You start with Martinez. And then you got to throw in Bogart as well. I like those. I like that 4 stack a lot. If you can figure out a way to get that stacking, because I know they're all, decently priced. I love the bets.
Hey, bro.
Yes.
Really quick, I want to say 2 things. The thing with Freeland is he was 7-5 on the road last year. And he was 10-2 at home. So that's like those are pretty monster splits, right? They haven't been as profound over the last 3 years when you look at his 3-year splits, but last year was pretty profound as far as his splits go. Number 2, there's a team that you need to consider that everyone needs to consider today, and I'm really debating on if I should give you a breakdown of it on this video or if I should tell everybody to tune into the deep dive. What do you want me to do?
Hey, it's your call. I mean, I gave my top 3. I got 2 more teams. You already know what teams I'm liking. So if it's a sneaky team, I mean, it's up to you, bro.
So let me just tell you this. On a monster slate like this, I told you guys this last time as well. On a monster slate like this, and sometimes, of course, we get lucky and we don't have the addition of it being a monster slate and there's a Coors Field on the slate. But we have a monster slate today, and we have some really good bats on this slate and some really good pitching to try to fit everything together, right? So you have to find that team that provides you value. And in my opinion, the team you're going to need to look at today is the San Francisco Giants.
Giants.
You're going to have – look, there's a plethora of reasons I can get into, but the number one reason is value. You've got a lot of guys in that lineup that are in the $2,200 to $2,600 range. They have increased their team ISO by over 30 points in the last 7 days. Pablo Sandoval is one of the hotter hitters in baseball over the last week. Brandon Belt is in that lineup, who we all know can go yard, and in the right environment is a guy that becomes extremely popular. They have no Buster Posey, so you have another left-handed bat in Stephen Vogt. Buster Posey out with concussion, and they're facing Trent Thornton and the Toronto Blue Jays, and this is definitely a matchup that I think you can get at very low ownership. The Giants are never going to be chalk. They're just not unless they're at Coors Field, and then even when they were at Coors Field this past week, they still weren't chalk. But the Giants are a team that will allow you to stack whoever you want with them, and they have a really good shot at scoring a ton of runs tonight against Trent Thornton and the Toronto Blue Jays bullpen.
Yeah, I mean, I like it. Thing is, we like the Houstons. We like Boston. I mean, if we want to get those stacks in, we're going to need some value and some lower-owned stacks. And I definitely can see it. Like you said, Giants picking it up a little bit. So just to round it off quickly, just, like I said, I like Houston. I like the Royals. I like Boston. Final 2 teams I'm going to be targeting. I really like Arizona. At home, mentioned them yesterday. We really liked them yesterday as well. They went out and what did they end up scoring? 9 runs, right?
Who?
Arizona.
They scored 9 runs.
Yeah. So they ended up going out last night, scoring 9 runs. We had, in our cash lines, I'm just going to throw this out there. In our cash lines, we had a 4-man Arizona stack that worked out very, very well with us. Very, very well for us. I'm going to go right back to the well. Arizona, top 5 hitting environment in the league. You got the Diamondbacks getting a matchup today against Joe Musgrove. I mean, I have a question for you. Me personally, why do you want to why do you like Arizona? I know we talked about it. Musgrove's numbers, he has pretty decent numbers, so I just want your opinion on this one.
I have not got to Joe Musgrove to tell you what he gives up.
Okay. Well, for me, I know he gives up a 297 WOBA to left-handers, 276 WOBA to right-handers.
But that's the thing, right? So you're probably pulling up a classic example. Go ahead and give it, and then we can talk about it really quick. Go ahead and give his breakdown, and then we can talk about it.
On the flip side, for Arizona, they have a 314 team WOBA, 180 team ISO. like I said, I like for Arizona, I'm going to look at the same guys I was looking at yesterday. I mean, you got Dyson, if he's going to be in the top of the order, I think he's a good play. And he's one of those guys like a Gordon or like a Billy Hamilton. Anytime he gets on base, he can get you a steal. He got you 2 steals yesterday. Escobar, Peralta, Adam Jones, he was a disappointment for us yesterday. But I definitely think you can go right back to that well. And then you can look at the young guy, Christian Walker, ended up hitting a late home run as well. So go ahead.
I'm sorry, man. I'm looking at something on our site. Where were we at?
No, we're just talking a little bit about the Diamondbacks.
So I haven't got into Joe Musgrove, but what was his WOBA numbers?
They're actually pretty good. It's 297 to lefties, 276 to righties.
So I mean, to me, and you'll notice that on this beautiful little tool that we're building out, I don't include WOBA because WOBA is not important to me. A guy can do a lot of things, right? A guy can, left on base percentage is probably more important to me than WOBA is because I can correlate ISO to left on base percentage. And if the guy is giving up let's say he's giving up a 200 is the benchmark for ISO. So let's say that the guy's giving up, and there's probably like 3 correlations I can make, right? So if you're looking at WOBA, then you're saying he's giving up a 296 WOBA to lefties and a 224 WOBA to righties. Okay. In the grand context of things, the best stat for baseball, for general managers, for front offices is OPS, okay? On base percentage plus slugging. So WOBA is only weighted on base percentage. This has nothing to do with slugging percentage at all, and it has nothing to do with figuring out or quantifying how many total bases a guy is actually worth, right? So it's just WOBA. It's just weighted on base percentage. Once you hit first base, you have an on-base percentage. So if you get hit by a pitch, if you strike out, and on strike 3, the ball gets away from the catcher and you get on base, guess what? That counts as being on base. Well, that doesn't give me any information as far as what you're doing to get on base. And that's what I want because I don't want to roster a team full of players that are going to hit me singles all day and go 1 for 4 or 2 for 3 with a single. My lineup's going to have 6 points times 8 players, which is 48 points. And if my pitcher goes off, maybe I make 100. That's no good to me. So I don't use WOBA, and WOBA is not really important to me. It's just not. That's just my process. And to further that, I can't correlate WOBA to anything. But on the flip side to that, I can correlate ISO, okay? And I can make a decision on a pitcher really quickly. If a right-handed pitcher is giving up a 092 ISO to right-handed bats, and he's giving up a 343 ISO to left-handed bats, and he has a strikeout percentage of above 26% to right-handed bats and below 20% to left-handed bats, then I'm like, okay, on the surface, this looks like a really good pitcher to attack. Let me go dig a little deeper into this, and then I'm going to take a look at the lineup he's facing. If he's going to face a lineup that's going to be 7 right-handed bats and 2 left-handed bats, like let's say St. Louis, where St. Louis is going to send Matt Carpenter, maybe Colton Wong, and probably Dexter Fowler to the plate, then I'm going to avoid stacking the St. Louis Cardinals because it's a really good matchup for this pitcher. So I don't care if his WOBA is 406. He's not giving up any power numbers, and he dominates right-handed bats. So that's the difference to me, and why I don't care about WOBA. So I haven't got into Musgrove, but Musgrove is 1-4 on the season, and I guarantee you that when we take a deep dive into Musgrove, we're going to find out why. And I'm fairly confident that we're going to find some pretty exasperated splits against him, probably in the ISO department. So it'll be about matching to find out if it's going to be a good matchup or not. It's going to be about, and last night would be a perfect example. Nick Kingham dominated right-handed bats, and the only right-handed bat that got to him last night, I don't think any right-handed bat got to him. I believe it was the top of the order where it was Dyson, it was Eduardo Escobar, who's a switch hitter who hit from the left side, and it was David Peralta. So
right.
The WOBA to me is a cool little stat to look at. It's not even as good as Sierra is, because at least with Sierra for a pitcher, you're able to take a look and see and XFIP and FIP. So just to understand what FIP and XFIP are, FIP actually removes all players from the field. So it's what your ERA would be if there was nobody on the field. So, and you got no help from anybody on the field at all. So Sierra actually takes everything is close. I guess you could say it's close to a WOBA stat because it's a weighted ERA that takes all things into consideration and allows us to find out if a guy's been really lucky and we should expect some regression, or if a guy's been really unlucky and we should expect it to even out. So I can't correlate WOBA. So WOBA to me is not important because in my mind, I don't want singles. We want extra base hits. We want bombs. We need correlation throughout the lineup. It takes a lot more to get, you need a guy to get on, steal second base, and then a single to drive him in, and then still we don't get that many points out of that situation.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying completely. So, hey, Jeremy, like you said, he'll break down Musgrove in the deep dive, give you a little bit more reason why we're liking Arizona. Final team, I'm going to quickly just mention, I do like Minnesota at home, going against Cam Bedrosian for the Angels. I just think this is a good spot for them at home. And they have they have the fourth highest implied total on the slate. As a team, they have a 238 ISO, so they're really, really hitting the ball hard. You mentioned it, you like the ISO number. We like teams with high ISOs. They're hard contact on the ball. The guys I'm going to look at for Minnesota it's obvious guys: Kepler, Polanco, Cruz, Rosario. Yesterday we threw in Gonzalez. He hit a bomb for us. Jonathan Scope, he's a guy that gives us a little bit of pop. You can look at him as well. So just quickly rounding it off with the bats. I mean, some guys that are really some teams that are really standing out for me: Houston, Royals, Boston, Minnesota, Arizona. Pitching wise, is there anybody that's really jumping out to you right now?
So just to really quickly touch on this, Cam Bedrosian is opening. There's going to be two openers tonight. Nick Vincent will open for San Francisco. They'll use an opener for the first time ever. And then Tyler Beede will take over that one. If you're not familiar with Beede, Beede is a really, really, really good young pitcher. Happened to have some really bad luck in his first start against the Cincinnati Reds where his fastball was flat and it got hit really hard. Cam Bedrosian will open up, and typically in this situation, he will give way to Félix Peña. We've seen some pitchers. Last night, the opener made more sense to me than it's ever made, at least the theory behind it. There are some really talented pitchers out there that have a really hard time for some reason in the first inning, and rather than get them on a better routine and kind of tweak their routine so they're not so jittery in the first inning, some teams have just decided that they're going to use an opener when certain pitchers start. San Francisco is just trying it. That's one thing. Félix Peña and Frankie Peralta seem to be the two pitchers where teams and organizations have made a decision that when they're going to pitch, they're not going to pitch the first inning because they tend to get in trouble. Tampa Bay is the only team that has actually employed it as an actual strategy because they think that they have – when Tampa Bay started this, it was against the Angels, and they had Sergio Romo, who absolutely dominated from a strikeout percentage, the top three guys in their lineup, and they used him to open all three games of the series, and he dominated in all three games of the series, and it kind of stuck. So that's kind of the story behind why different teams are using openers. Félix Peña has been really, really, really good when Cam Bedrosian is open for him. So I'm giving you this for a few reasons. One, to understand that don't use a Nick Vincent or a Cam Bedrosian today because they're only pitching one inning. I don't think that I don't think that either one of these guys are going to come out and strike out the side. So I don't think that they're in play as a SP2 on DK for the cheap. And I don't think that maybe they are. I just don't think that they're going to go strike out the side and give you the points you need to reach value even at 4,000. And they should definitely not go beyond one inning. If there was the possibility that either one of these guys was going to pitch 2 innings today in the opening standpoint and had high strikeout upside, I would recommend them as tournament SP2s for DK, but I can't do that either. So the second reason is to understand that on both sites, neither one of the sites display from a default setting any pitchers not slated to start. You can still load them up using the optimizers. You can still load them up manually by going to the bottom of the player pool and clicking display all pitchers, and then going and understanding that your lineup is going to say for Félix Peña or Tyler Beede that they're not starting because they're not an opener is coming in, but those are the guys who are actually going to pitch or are slated to pitch more than 5 innings. So Félix Peña and Tyler Beatty is who we'll talk about on the deep dive, and that's who our research process will feature. Our actual starters, we won't feature Vincent and Bedrosian. On top of that, who else is in a good spot today? Look, you've got Noah Syndergaard, you've got Clayton Kershaw, you've got Charlie Morton, you got a lot of pitchers on this slate. Chris Sale, Chris Paddock. There's a lot of good pitchers on this slate with a lot of strikeout upside, and there's also some gas cans that we will take a look at as well. Shelby Miller, an interesting matchup between Jack Flaherty and Mike Fultonavich as well. So I'm sorry, Ryan Carpenter is also opening today. So there's 3 openers on this slate.
It starts getting tricky with all these teams having openers.
It starts getting tricky, and you've got to pay attention. You've got to know what's going on, yeah. Or let us do that for you, because that's what we do.
For sure. So, hey, man, that's really where we're at. Kind of get you a general overview on bats, a couple pitchers that are out there that we're going to be looking at. Hey, if you want a more in-depth analysis on anything on MLB today, pitchers, hitters, stacks, etc., hey, make sure to check out the site. Get your 14-day free trial. You got absolutely nothing to lose. Outside of that, hey, man, good luck on your guys' contest today, and peace out, guys.